Woo! You know what Kendrick said? Get him splashed until he hydrated. He said, I feel good, get the barefoot mafia out of my face. I feel that energy. All right, today we're talking about max stack. You know what? We're not talking about max stack. We're talking about super max stack running shoes. What are super max stack running shoes? Super max stack running shoes, that's like this guy here. This is the Adidas Prime X Strung OG. And you see what it has printed, stamped right on this big tall stack of foam, 50 millimeters. So super max stack running shoes, or illegal running shoes, are shoes with more than 40 millimeters in the heel. Now there's no fine line between what's super max stack and what's max stack. It's definitely above 40, and a lot of these shoes that are coming through the shoe market this year, I've noticed the difference once you go above 42. So the 40 millimeter stack height in the back, the legal limit, and where the talking about illegal running shoes comes from is for a racing shoe, which this is a marathon racing shoe that they've amped up to the max. This type of a shoe, it has to be below 40 millimeters for a professional athlete to run in it and to have their record count. Now for us hobby joggers, it doesn't matter, but this entire year, 2024, was the year of the super max stack shoes. We saw stack heights getting higher in the regular training market. We saw daily trainers going up to the high 30s, low 40s, and then this entire new category of super max stack emerging. Now before I get into the best picks, why would you want to run in a super max stack shoe? What are some of the benefits of running in super max stack shoes? Well, first, protection. I run a lot of miles. I'm pacing for a 120 mile week this week, and I'm pacing for 5 stacks of mileage on the year. 5,000 miles on the year. How do I do that? Well, consistency. There's a lot of consistency over the past 5 years that have helped me do that, but I also like to run in a lot of these max stack shoes. This is 100% anecdotal, but I personally find that the max cushion shoes, and especially the super max stack shoes, make it so much easier to hit higher mileage and take the brunt of the pounding. Now, every different type of shoe works different muscles and places different stressors on the body, so I also mix in occasionally non-super max stack shoes. I ran a half marathon last week in the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 24, one of the most boring random shoes out there that's low-key a banger. I did a 100-mile week in the New Balance Rebel V4. I've done workouts in a lot of lower stack shoes like the Hyperion 2, so I occasionally will mix in a non-super max stack shoe, and I don't run in plates all the time. A lot of these shoes do have plates, but with a plate, most of the time, if they're putting a plate in the shoe, that means it has more foam, and the plate, like in this guy, or the rods in this case, is here to stabilize that tall stack. So super max stack shoes above 42 millimeters, lots of foam, good for the protection, and they also tend to have more exciting compounds than standard running shoes. So every super max stack shoe that I'm about to pull out here has some sort of a race foam or something very similar to a race foam in it. And the last thing I wanted to say before we get into it, anecdotally, I've also found that these super max stack shoes are way better for bigger runners. If you are a bigger runner and you put down more force into a shoe, these are just way more protective. I'm 6'2". When I started running, I was, 190 something pounds, right? And I've always liked these shoes that have a bit more cushion to them. Even just being taller, it puts a lot of force down into the shoe. They can stand up better to my force, they can stand up better to time on feet, and they can stand up better to pace. So those are some of the benefits of super max stack shoes. With that, let us do the honorable mention. The one I'm holding here, this is my favorite long run shoe. I think this is still the best long run shoe out there. This is the Adidas Prime X Strung OG. By the way, we are gonna do this Saturday one take style because it's one take Saturday. So I'm just gonna rip right through. This is the Adidas Prime X Strung OG. If they still made this, I would put this on the core list, but they don't make it anymore. So it's honorable mention. But you know where you could find one? Potentially the Supwell app. I'm doing this one take style, so I didn't say this in the beginning, but if you're looking for a new pair of running shoes, make sure you're signed up for my app, the Supwell app. Oh my gosh. Someone asked me for an update on the chickens. Well, here's your chicken update. They're still here, just mobbing out. These are not my chickens. They just come through and terrorize my yard, tearing up my mulch. Should play the new Kendrick album. I feel good, get that on my face. No, it's Saturday one take style. It's still rolling. I forgot. So much foam, so much cushion, so much bounce in the Prime X Strung OG. Honorable mention because they don't make it. I really hope the 3 is like this. It is narrower, not the most stable. A lot of these shoes I'm going to highlight are more stable than this, but this is an absolute banger. The other honorable mention is this shoe, Hoka Mach X2. Now, why is it an honorable mention? If you've watched this channel, you know that I absolutely love this thing. I call this my favorite marathon training shoe of the year, and it is. The reason I'm putting an honorable mention is because, well, it's a great shoe, it's an awesome shoe, and it is technically above 42 millimeters. Running Warehouse measures this at 44 millimeters in the back. It doesn't have the spirit that I want in a Super Max Stack shoe. For a Super Max Stack shoe, I want the utmost in balance, the utmost in comfort, the utmost in something. All of these Super Max Stack shoes are amped up to the max. This feels more standard. Yes, it's bouncy, yes, it's fun, but it has more of that streamlined speed training feel. It's like a more robust Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. It's not giving me anything that I haven't tried in another shoe. That's the difference with all these Super Max Stack shoes and the best illegal running shoes. They're illegal for a reason. This is a slightly better version of the Boston 12, which is another shoe that I loved. It doesn't have that same spirit of a Super Max Stack shoe. So while the letter of the law, yes, it's Super Max Stack, spirit of the shoe, it's more of a marathon training shoe, long run shoe. So with that, let's get into the list here. At number 5, we have a tie. I am pulling out both of these Asics shoes here for number 5. So Asics Super Blast 2 and the Asics Glide Ride Max. Every time I do one of these best max cushion, best marathon training shoes list, you guys ask me, where's the Asics Super Blast? Here is the Asics Super Blast. Here's the Asics Super Blast. It's not my personal favorite, but I have been reaching for it for some runs over the past week to test it more, and because what it is so good at is giving stability and structure with some bounce. Now, I do not enjoy the way that this thing feels, which is why I'm pulling out the Glide Ride Max as well. I much prefer the feel of the Glide Ride Max. This is a Super Max Stack shoe. This is an illegal shoe. Running Warehouse measures this at 46 millimeters in the back, which is just absolutely absurd. This is about 45 millimeters, so this actually might be taller. The Glide Ride Max might be taller. And what I like so much about the Glide Ride Max, it's soft, it's bouncy, it's comfortable, it's fun. I do not always want that though, and sometimes the performance of the Super Blast 2 is more what I need. And this past week, I've been really reaching up to get some mileage to prepare for this ultra marathon. So I took the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, I took it down. So the last few days I've been just crushing mileage, and I used this for my double yesterday. That was almost dang near 50 miles in 2 days, 48 miles across 2 days. And I used this to get the last 8 of those miles. And while it wasn't the most fun ride, it's not a fun shoe for me at all. It did give me the balance and stability. So that's what I like about the Super Blast 2. It's not gonna bottom out. It is very firm for me personally, and I don't think I could put down enough power into it. I did make one change to it as well that made it a lot better for me. Look at that. I put this Saucony insole in it, which is much softer and bouncier, so that made it a more tolerable ride. But Charlie also likes this one as well. She's been getting some miles in a black pair. It's going to give you some good structure, decent bounce, and especially the bigger you are, the bouncier it will feel. For me, it doesn't feel the bounciest, but it's also a shoe where I know I'm not going to bottom out, and it will give me some zip. Glide Ride Max, on the other hand, this is the utmost in comfort, very soft, very bouncy. It potentially will bottom out. So that's why I'm putting these two together. They're two variants of a similar shoe. Both are great for long runs. Both are great if you want some bounce to it. This is more of the lighter runner's pick. This is more of the heavier runner's pick. This is more of the, if you like soft, that's the Glide Ride Max. If you like firm, that's the Super Blast. So that's number 5. Number 4. We have the fastest brick of 2024. As soon as this shoe, it sucks all the light out of the universe. You put it up, this black colorway is like the Voldemort colorway, man. It's like the Dementor colorway. You remember when the Dementors came and everything goes, and you can't breathe and just sucks all the light. That's what this shoe is. It's like the black vortex colorway. It's crazy. But this thing has 50 millimeters of stack. It's the Adidas Prime X Strung 2. Similar to the Prime X Strung OG, it also has that Light Strike Pro foam, similar race foam. Difference is here, they widened it out. It's a lot heavier, and it's not even a little heavier. It's 50 dang grams heavier. It is a very heavy shoe. I think this might have injured me. I don't know. I think this might have messed up my calf or ankle or something. It's just so heavy and awkward to run in. It didn't actually injure me. But it's just heavy and awkward to run in. I didn't feel as natural turning over the legs in this. The reason it's still making the list, like the Super Blast, the performance is just crazy. So at any time you're putting above 40 millimeters of a race foam in a shoe, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So that's what you're getting in the Prime X Strong. It is so bouncy, and it was giving me, I thought I was running at a 740, 750 pace one day, and I was ripping off 7 flats. So it was legit giving me 40 seconds per mile speed assistance. I did a 15 miler in it in the rain, and it was making it so easy to hit those paces. So while it's not, again, like the Super Blast, not the most fun to run in, something like the Prime X Strong OG or even the Hoka Mach X2 is more fun to run in than this, but it is very efficient and effective at doing its job, which is for longer runs, or even if you're going to do a marathon and you're maybe 3:30 plus or 4-hour marathon, this is going to make it a lot easier to hit those paces. So that's what these Super Max Stack shoes are great at, doing one thing really well. This makes it easier to hit those paces over a long distance, and the weight of it, ironically, for me, as I got deeper into that run, the weight of it became less of a factor because I was able to activate the foam more, and once you get it going, it's hard to stop this thing. Once the train leaves the station, it's on a roll. So that's the Adidas Prime X Strong 2, the 4th best Super Max Stack shoe. This actually came out last year. This also has 2 plates, which makes it firmer. By the way, if you're gonna buy any of these shoes, make sure to do it through my Running Warehouse links. I'll put them all in the description below. All right, number 3, the 3rd best Super Max Stack shoe. It's behind my back, it's in front of my back, it's behind my back, it's in front of the camera. Bada boom, bada bang. The Brooks Glizziator Maximus V Uno, Roman numeral 1. This is the Brooks Glycerin Max. This thing exemplifies what a Super Max Stack is. If I could only pick one max cushion shoe for recovery runs, this would be it. If I could only pick one Super Max Stack shoe for every run, this would not be it. That's why it's at position number 3, not position number 1. So the thing is, this is a non-plated Super Max Stack shoe, and it's a softer foam. Now, they've done this thing here where you have a softer version of the soft foam in the back and a firmer version of the firm foam in the front. That's why they call it DNA tuned, because they've tuned the foam. However, you can't make a soft foam firm by tuning it firmer. That's not a riddle. That's science. It's hobby jogger math. You can't make a soft foam firm by firming a tuner, by tuning it firmer. So this does have the dual foam setup, but it's still a max cushion cruiser. It's a recovery shoe. It's a plodding along shoe. It's a fun, I just want to go cruise with the boys. Remember when Saturdays are for the boys? Saturdays are not for the boys anymore. Saturdays are for 2-year-olds and going to the farmer's market and fighting off chickens out of their front yard. I don't know who invented Saturdays are for the boys. They clearly did not have hobby jogger responsibilities, and I can see the chicken. I can see him causing havoc. That's the Devin Booker chicken. This is a great shoe if you want recovery, if you've liked shoes in the past, like the New Balance 1080 V13. If you thought the Bandai was comfortable, if you liked the Nike Invincible, if you liked the Saucony Triumph, if you liked the Asics Nimbus, and you thought, I wish any of those shoes I just named were even more protective, were even more fun to run in, was even crazier, even more padding on the upper. This is just comfort dialed up to the max, and I love that Brooks just went all in on one thing. And unlike the Super Blast and unlike even the Prime X Strong, they're not trying to make this a do-it-all shoe. They know this is a recovery shoe because they have the Hyperion Max too. This is just all about comfort, and that's why they named it Glycerin Max, because the Glycerin has always been a daily trainer that's about comfort. That's what this thing is too, and even more so than the Glycerin. Glycerin I could go out and run some intervals in if I needed to. Glycerin is the type of shoe where if you're going on a trip and you're doing a week of marathon training, you could bring the Glycerin, you'd be fine. I would not want to be running marathon pace at my paces at least, and I think most people, if you're training even 10-minute paces and faster. You're not going to be running marathon pace in this. It's just not that type of shoe. But for everything else, walking around, everyday comfort, this is an absolute banger. $200, but in my opinion, worth every single dollar just for the comfort. It feels like the most comfortable shoe you've ever put on in your life, and great padding on the upper. And that's the thing, some people were disappointed in this because they're coming from the Mag Max or they're coming from the Superblast and they're expecting it to be like one of those shoes. It's not. It's like the 1080 V13 on roids. Grip is also great on these Brooks shoes. So number 2, man, this is so hard. This is so hard, but gosh, all right, number 2, we're gonna do Puma Mag Max. I almost want to, this is why I'm saying it's so hard. I almost want to, make this a tie. These are the last 2 shoes. I'm not gonna make it a tie, but I want to. This is a tie. It's basically a tie between the Skyward X and the Mag Max. Let me talk about the Mag Max first though, at number 2. This is, if the Glizzy Max is comfort amped up, this is reliability and workhorseness amped up to the max. And a lot of people use the Superblast as an everyday shoe. It was designed initially for elite marathoners to use as a long run shoe, alternative to a carbon plated shoe. And here's the thing. This is the Sun Chips of running shoes. I figured this out this week. This is the Sun Chips of running shoes. Remember you used to go to Subway and get Sun Chips and you feel healthy because you're eating Sun Chips? You're still eating dang chips. You're still running in a Max Stack shoe. You're still running in a rigid, not natural feeling shoe. People like the Superblast just because it's non-plated. I don't give a dang if a shoe has a plate or not. You're still eating chips running the Superblast. If you are using the Superblast as a daily trainer, the Mag Max, I argue, is even better for that. It's even bouncier. It's even more comfortable. It's even more protective. The grip is better. Although the grip on the Superblast 2 is a banger as well. The looks are not better. The looks on this are not better, at least in this colorway. The Superblast is better looking. But this has 100% of this last generation race foam in here. No plates, no other foam, just a thick stack of it. And it accomplishes the job of a workhorse really well. It's a do-it-all type of shoe where I can lace it up for any run other than my fastest speed runs and know I'm going to have a good time, know I'm going to be comfortable, know I'm going to be bouncy, know it's going to be bouncy. If you've liked shoes in the past like the Vomero, again, the Triumph, even the Pegasus, any of those Saucony Ride, those standard shoes, and you thought, I want this to be a more fun experience that performs better over long miles, that's what this is. I even did a 3-hour, 23-mile long run in the Mag Max, and it was a banger. So a very reliable shoe, super protective. It does feel heavy on foot. Again, it's one of those shoes that feels heavy on foot until you get it going, but the protection is great. I got it up to 100 miles and it's still in my rotation. This is one of the best marathon training shoes of the year. If you want protection, if you want balance and comfort, that's the Mag Max. Now, the reason I am putting the Skyward X at number 1 on the list is because this just has more fun in it for me. Again, the Super Max Stack illegal category. Yes, it's about the stack height, but it also is about that je ne sais quoi, that special feeling, the it factor. This just has the it factor for me. I have never had a bad run in the Skyward X, and it has that quality to it where if I'm having a hard time, it just makes me want to keep going and it helps me dig out. That's what the best shoes here, especially if you're going to be paying $200, you want that quality where a shoe will do some of the lifting for you. It will take some of the burden off. And the Skyward X exemplifies that for me. So it's the same weight as the Glizziator, it's the same weight as the Mag Max, but the bounce on it for me is just insane. Now, some people have said it's too firm or they can't get it going. Again, this is a bigger or more powerful runners type of shoe. If you're very light on your feet or you don't like the feeling of a lot of foam, you're not gonna like this. And if you don't like firmer platforms, if you didn't like the Boston 12, for example, you're probably not gonna like this. Just get the Glizzy if you want something soft. This is not a soft shoe. And if we do the continuum here, the Brooks is the softest, Mag Max is the middle, this is the firmest. This is pretty close. These two are pretty close, but the Skyward X is way more fun than the Superblast 2. So this is the most fun shoe of 2024. This is what this illegal category is supposed to be all about for me. Fun, bounce, comfort, making it easy to run. That's what the Skyward X does. So construction here, you have a top layer of race foam, you have a carbon fiber plate in the middle, and then a bottom layer of supercritical EVA, so a training foam that's been made more fun, livened up with some gas. So again, if you like the idea of the Skyward X, but don't want all the heavy, firm foam, Glide Ride Max would be a great baby Skyward X. And if you want something 5% softer, Mag Max. Mag Max is the type of shoe that most people will get along with if you like Super Max Stack. So those are the best 5 Super Max Stack shoes. I really hope Adidas brings back the Prime X Strong OG. This thing is a complete banger. If you're gonna get any of these, make sure to do it through my Running Warehouse link. Make sure to sign up for the Supwell app. I know it's One Take Saturday, so we gotta keep it rolling. I was just gonna see if I had anything else on my notes, because I was gonna do this video last week, so I took a bunch of notes. No. Nope. That was it. So I highly recommend these. This is just a fun category. You don't need one of these types of shoes to train. This is the cherry on top of training. And if you were doing marathon training, or if you're going into a tough period of winter running and you're gonna need some extra motivation, having one of these shoes is great extra motivation. The last thing I should say, for the treadmill, I would probably pick the Mach X2 out of all these shoes. I didn't even put it on the core list. Mach X2 or Super Blast 2 for the treadmill. Reason being, those are the most normal feeling shoes out of this group. I don't like super soft shoes or super bouncy shoes on the treadmill, because you already get some extra bounce and softness from running on top of that plastic rubbery polymer. So that's my take. Mach X2 or Super Blast 2 for the treadmill. All these other great shoes for the roads. That's all I have today. Make sure to sign up for the Supwell app. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.